The Rubik's Cube, which was originally called the Magic Cube, is a 3D combination puzzle invented in 1974 by Hungarian sculptor and professor of architecture Erno Rubik. Mathematicians later calculated that there are 43 quintillion 252 quadrillion 3 trillion 274 billion 489 million 856 hundred ways to arrange the squares, but just one of those combinations is correct. At first, it was claimed that 52 moves were enough to solve any of the 43 quintillion different scrambles. This number began to fall slowly as better, more efficient methods were devised for solving the huge number of possible combinations in the fewest moves possible. After decades, a group of mathematicians, academics, and engineers discovered a number that explains life, the universe, and everything in between. That is the biggest secret of all, the God's algorithm or number, which is 20. God's number or algorithm, as many cube enthusiasts will already know, is the maximum number of moves required to solve any of the 43 quintillion combinations of the cube. The term God's algorithm is derived from the fact that if God was solving a cube, he would do it in the most efficient way possible. This is how you can understand this concept better. It is known that 490 million combinations are required for all the 20 moves to be solved. Even though 490 million seems like a big number, it is only a tiny fraction of the 43 quintillion possible combinations. However, the number of combinations that can be solved in 19 moves is quite closer to 1.5 quintillions. Therefore, God's number is much closer to 19 than 20 moves. But even if one scramble sequence was impossible to solve in less than 20 moves, God's number would still be 20. Perhaps the most famous of the rare scrambles that require exactly 20 moves to solve is the superflip position. The superflip is a famous position of the 3x3x3 Rubik's Cube, where all corners are solved and all edges are in the correct location but flipped. Despite its symmetry, this is an extremely difficult pattern. In fact, it was the first position that was proven to require that many moves. This is achieved by performing the following sequence of moves. So this is how the super flip looks. This is the farthest one could get from solving the cube. The speciality of this combination is that on repeating the algorithm, we get back to our original state. The number of moves required to do this is 20. So now to solve this cube completely in the least possible combinations, the sequence of moves for the God's algorithm is again and thus we get a fully solved Rubik's Cube. This is the case with the 3 by 3 by 3 Rubik's Cube. The 2 by 2 by 2 pocket cube has about 3,674,160 permutations. However, the God's number has been proved to be 11 moves. The 4 by 4 by 4 Rubik's Revenge has no determined God's number yet. This is because the centerpiece on the Rubik's Revenge is not fixed. Due to this, complications occur. However, it is estimated that God's number for 4 by 4 by 4 cube is between 30 and 33. Another puzzle that has its own God's algorithm is the Tower of Hanoi. It is a mathematical puzzle where we have 3 rods and n discs. The objective of the puzzle is to move the entire stack to another rod, obeying the following simple rules. First, only one disk can be moved at a time. Second, each move consists of taking the upper disk from one of the stacks and placing it on top of another stack. That is, a disk that can only be moved if it is the uppermost disk on a stack. Third, no disk may be placed on top of a smaller disk. In this case, God's algorithm is known for any given number of disks. The number of moves is exponential in the number of disks, that is 2 raised to the power n minus 1. Unlike Rubik's Cube and Tower of Hanoi, many games don't have their God's algorithm defined. Some well-known games with a very limited set of simple, well-defined rules and moves have nevertheless never had their God's algorithm for a winning strategy determined. Examples are the board games Chess and Go. Both these games have a rapidly increasing number of positions with each move. The total number of all positions, approximately 10 raised to the power 154 for chess and 10 raised to the power 180 for Go, is much too large to allow a brute force solution with current computing technology. Hence, the saga of this permutation and combinations continues.